The paradoxes of time travel. If one day we discover that traveling through time is as easy as moving left and right, forward and backwards, or up and down, then what ramifications would this have for our temporal existence? At present, we live, we reproduce, and we die. But if time travel were possible, how might this sequence become jumbled? Would there be any strange complications? What are the paradoxes of time travel? Number 4. The grandfather paradox. The most commonly cited paradox involving time travel describes how you could erase yourself from existence by going back and killing your own grandfather. By doing this, you would remove the possibility of your even being born. But if that's the case, then who came back to kill your grandpa? If you don't exist, you could never have traveled back in time, so your grandpa must therefore live and go back to have a child who in turn produces you, and we're back to the paradox once more. Strangely, this paradox is solvable using nothing more than the original premise itself. Because cause and effect govern our universe, any action you take in the past would have an impact on the timeline of the future. From the very nanosecond you arrive, you would begin to affect your destiny in ways you could not control. Move a single atom 1 nanometer and you could change the course of Earth's history. Therefore, the moment you arrived in the past, ready to settle your beef with Grandpa, you'd be instantly erased before you'd stepped out of your time machine, let alone pulled the trigger. Time travel would basically reset the clock of reality to whichever point you traveled to, and this would happen every single time you went back. Number 3. Memories. If you successfully managed to travel back through time, would you even know what you'd done? Let's say you're an average person with an average family, an average job, and an average grasp on history. Right now, you can probably remember raising your kids, your first day at work, and the day Britney Spears went crazy and shaved her head. But would all of these memories be erased as soon as you arrived in the past? These memories were created in a certain timeline, our timeline. They did not occur in the timeline you now inhabit. So is it even possible for these memories to travel through time with you and exist in the past? Or has your mind just had the factory reset button pushed? Alternatively, if your memories have endured a trip backward through time, then surely you can use them to change your future. With your knowledge of the future, you can now make alterations to the way things panned out. Hate your kids? Just avoid ever meeting your partner. Or simply try for kids on a different day when a whole new set of sperm are competing for a shot at life, and your former children are left to die on a piece of dried up tissue. Solving this paradox is even weirder than the last one, because if you can go backwards in time and use the knowledge from the future to inform the past, then all of human history should be one perfect utopia. In the far future, when mankind has a solution for every problem it knows of, we could send this info back to the earliest days of man and prevent every war, famine, and fidget spinner that ever came to be. But this creates a paradox similar to the first entry, whereby if none of those grotesque things ever occurred, the conditions to enable our future utopia would never have existed either. Thankfully, the solution to this is to be found in yet another paradox, the bootstrap paradox. Number 2. The bootstrap paradox. The bootstrap paradox describes a situation where a single object or piece of information is sent back in time, only to become trapped in an infinite loop of cause and effect. Imagine if you went back 20 years and gave Dr. Dre the idea to charge $200 for $10 headphones by putting a sticker on them. Well, eventually Dre would steal this idea, market Beats headphones on his own, and earn a few $100 million. But eventually, Dr. Dre's timeline would reach the point where you decided to travel back in time and sell Dre his own idea. And thus the loop is complete, and it goes on forever. Who can truly be said to have invented Beats? Was it you? Was it Dre? Was it someone else? The idea of Beats headphones can, therefore, be said to exist within an infinite loop, with their origin unable to be proven. An even more incredible version of the bootstrap paradox can be found in the Robert A. Heinlein short story, All You Zombies. In this tale, an intersex male who is born as a female is deceived into going back in time to impregnate his/herself. As a result, that person could then be said to have no mother or father and no children either. This person is now a self-replicating being, which exists within its own causal loop. And the reason this paradox seemingly solves the previous one is that such loops break off from traditional timelines, existing in a looped reality of their very own. If you're still confused, imagine the analogy of a toy racetrack being built by a child. The child decides to build a normal track which is never-ending, adding a new piece every day to allow the cars to continue moving. This is your normal timeline. However, one day he sends a car backwards to an earlier part of the track. When he does this, he creates a new path, and the car heads off in a new direction. But as soon as this happens, the track behind it disappears, preventing the car from returning to the original track. The car now exists on a looped track from which it cannot escape. So yeah, the solution to the time travel paradox is basically a NASCAR race. Number 1. The multiverse paradox. One thing we've not yet discussed about time travel paradoxes is the existence of the multiverse. If an infinite or large number of parallel universes exist, then how are they affected by time travel? Well, one theory is that time travel may itself take place between multiple universes. Rather than traveling back through time within your own universe, which could be impossible, you'd actually be traveling to another universe similar to yours but at a different point in time. This would solve every paradox on the list, as since you're now inside an entirely new timeline, you can kill all the grandfathers your heart desires. Or can you? Perhaps not. Because if you can time travel between universes and affect the future of another reality, surely someone can do the same to your reality. At any moment, a time traveler from another universe could land in 1955 in our timeline and wipe out everything we know today. Theoretically, this means you could jump from one universe to another, meaning that traveling back to your own universe's past would simply be a case of taking a detour through another universe on the way. An alternate explanation which solves this paradox involves a similar solution to the bootstrap paradox, except instead of creating a new looped reality, time travel merely creates another reality branched off from a point in the past. So by putting a bullet in Grandpa's brain, you're not affecting your own past. You're simply preventing another you from existing in the new universe your actions have just created. And maybe that is what the universe wanted you to do all along. Intrigued? I'm sure you are, and we're going to explain what this means in our bonus video, Why Time Travel Destroys Free Will, which you can watch on our Patreon page at patreon.com/strangemysteries. For a $2 a month pledge, which you can cancel at any time, you'll get to watch this and all of our bonus content, which goes deeper and darker into every topic than YouTube allows. If you don't want to donate, then that's bullshit. We know you wanted more. Strange Mysteries on YouTube and our Patreon bonus videos weren't enough to quench your search for truth, to give you that sense of awe and wonder again, to go past what you thought was the end, to give you the answers you seek, but which only lead to more questions. That's why we just upped the stakes. Chemicals of reality. Reality, consciousness, brains. What else is there? Ask yourself that question. Perhaps that's all there really is, but perhaps everything else is found within a place where these ideas, these things, overlap. Some thing, some place that is undefinable. To many people, altering certain chemicals in their brains produces what they would simply call hallucinations. In fact, what we're going to discuss specifically used to be called the businessman's trip, as one could enjoy it. Come down and put your pants back on in the time it takes to eat lunch. It wasn't taken seriously, well, unless of course you started digging. And some people, including us, did. Already though, to many people, this chemical is special amongst others. Very special. To them, it represents something more meaningful and incredible, as if it's the gateway to the next level of consciousness. The ticket to a higher reality barely explored by most humans. It is the entry point to a new reality, visited by only a select few, whose minds have become enlightened through the use of this exotic substance. For this reason, it's commonly referred to as the spirit molecule. But is its reputation as a mystical mind-opener deserved? Or is it, and everything it represents, just a load of bullshit? we look at, investigate, and dive deeply into nearly all available research regarding this question from nearly every angle feasible. And in the course of doing so, stumble upon unexplainable patterns, correlations, and neurological evidence for a reality existing beyond this one. Watch this hour-long Strange Mysteries premium video, Chemicals of Reality, as well as many more to come by becoming an elite premium member of our Patreon at patreon.com/strangemysteries.